I love the videos where the booktuber goes and asks strangers on the street live to recommend their favorite books. The problem is that not only do I live in a Spanish-speaking country, but also I am terribly shy. So I'm trying this instead. I'm doing this as an introvert. I ask readers like you to recommend me your favorite books to convince me to read them. And I got around 77 responses up till now. Between them we have one video, one essay, and a lot of responses that were very passionate. So here are the top 20 recommendations. Books that were mentioned the most, or those entries that have more explanation, a little bit more of a reasoning as to why we should be reading them. Let's start in position number 20. The first entry, we have a recommendation from Maggie, and it's The Jitterbug Perfume. She says, I'm not a book reviewer, so I'll do my best to put into words what this book feels like. It's a magical realism telling a story from early humanity to now, all centered around the sexiest rude vegetable out of time, the beet. But it's not weird. Well, yeah, it is. We have Goats, the quest for immortality. The world feels scarce. It's strange, funny, sexy, and easy to read. And this sounds bizarre. It sounds really weird, but also something that I will really enjoy if I'm on a reading slump and I want something that is kind of like different, I guess. Position number 19, we have from Richard Hood, the Borgseigen Saga by Louis McMaster Bujold. The books in the series are each very different. They range from action to political thriller to space opera to quick romance to comedy of manners. I love how I'm not the only one that for the favorite books have weird books. All the books are clever, witty, have interesting characters and character development. Page turners. There's nothing else like these. My favorite, please read it. I read a couple of weeks ago The Curse of Chalion by the same author, and I cannot reconcile the idea of having something as funny or witty because this book was like a masterful piece. Like it was written in a way that was very beautiful, and you know, it blows my mind. In position number 18, we have from Paul Williams, two recommendations actually, but I'm letting it pass because it's delightful. We have in one hand The Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, and in another we have Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which is one of my favorite books. So yes, let's see. For Wizard of Earthsea, we have the most perfect book I've ever read. Perfect prose, pacing, perfect symbols, perfect wisdom, perfect. I love how many times perfect was mentioned here. And then for Jonathan Strange, we have the most delightful reading of my whole life, which is saying a lot, right? I don't care how long it is or if anything is tangential. I'm just so mega very happy to be reading it, which I can really say this is true. I've felt the same with Jonathan Strange. It's one of the best books that I read this year, and it's becoming very quickly one of my favorite standalones precisely because of that. It is long, it is meandering, it has a lot of footnotes, but the level of love that you develop for what you're reading, for the characters, and just the proper story, it's very interesting, it's funny, it is quickie, I'd say, not funny on itself, but it is like witty, and I loved it. It's long, but once that I finished it, I was like, I want more. Next, we have from Maggie Galatea. Oh my god, short story. Took 45 minutes on audio, and when I tell you my jaw was on the floor the whole time, so like, I mean it. Best narration I've ever had, so worth listening in audio, which this is something that I'm really appreciative of. Kind of hard finding great narrations. She says this is a reimagining of the Pygmalion beautiful statue that was brought to life. Set a bit modern. Can't say more. It's heartbreaking and shocking. And heartbreaking and shocking and short story and great narration. It just feels like something that I can blend between, House of Leaves, which it's being a mission. So I will be definitely picking this one up because it sounds really fascinating. Then we have from Pitya Staneva, I'm hoping I'm saying this correctly, The Invisible Library. My recent favorite book, which is a series of 8 magical, not-so-big books, is The Invisible Library by Genevieve Kaufman. I will share with you the comment that made me read it when I read these on Goodreads, which is 1 part Doctor Who, 1 part Steampunk, 1 part Chronicles of St. Mary's tossed in Dragons and Fae. Stir vigorously and voila, The Invisible Library. I actually like that blend. Steampunk I love, dragons, fae. It sounds like something I would really enjoy, and also this person is really sweet. There's a message as well that is like, I also would like to take a chance to say thank you for being one of the flames which rekindled my passion for reading. And this made me regret not going outside and meeting people, because just like a hug. In position number 15, from Scott D, we have The 10,000 Doors of January. It's a great portal fantasy about a girl who's trying to uncover why her past has been hidden by her mysterious guardian. She also discovers the truth behind her missing parents' love affair, and why her guardian collects strange otherworldly artifacts and suppresses any knowledge of her real family. It sounds like something that I might like. It also reminds me a little bit to Erin Morgenstern, so I'm not sure if it will be a hit or a miss. In position number 14, we have from Pavlos the recommendation of Jack Glass by Adam Roberts. This book is anything but ordinary. This book doesn't just tell a story, it toys with your expectations of sci-fi and crime fiction. It won the BSFA award. I wouldn't tell you more, but I believe if you read the first 2 pages, you'll read until the end. And this is something that I am so compelled to read, because I love those books that from the beginning you can tell if you're gonna love them. And this definitely sounds like one of those that once that you start reading, you don't want to pull it down. I'm not sure if crime fiction and sci-fi blends well, but I'm keen to know, if that happens. In position 13, we have a book that for sure you've heard about before, and this is The Silmarillion. This book is very much overshadowed by Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, but it is so much more grander in scale. It does feel more like a lore book, as the prose doesn't always feel like a story is being told, but the story is incredibly dense and exciting. Dense and exciting, it's not necessarily something that I will blend on the same phrase. But again, I loved Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and I'm like, nothing really happened, but it did. And so, yeah, I think I can understand. You will want to pause often and look up family trees to see who's who. It piques your interest if you're kind of in a scholar mood. I'd say this book and its related books are the most complex fantasy, more than Melassan or anything else. Okay, but if I'm already scared about Melassan, you got me this. I want to read it, but first I need to finish my journey with Lord of the Rings, so I will do that first. We have a recommendation that it's in Spanish, so I will make my best to translate it live, but this is from Sara Gonzalez, and she is recommending the book Eaters. If Interview with Vampire plus The Handmaid's Tale had a son, it will be something like the book Eaters, except vampires are not vampires, and instead of drinking blood, they eat books. Oh, this is the title. The title allows us to know that the book Eaters, something goes in that way, but I would never thought that would be a literal concept. So this is interesting. There are some that feeds on human brains, but those are spatial cases. This is a concept story, but it's fascinating, very original and moving. My favorite book. Position number 11, from Susied 6535, we have The Ladies of Grace Adieu on Other Stories by Susanna Clark. Yes! Susanna Clark. She made an effort to explain the book, but I was like, Susanna Clark, I'm gonna feature these on the video. And she says, Jess, the same author who wrote Piranesi and Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Incidentally, they appear in the very first story as well. I want to read it just because of that. She says, the language, it's witty, the stories are folklore inspired, and they are perfect for a spring read. I love this book because it reminds me of stories told by my grandmother, which is a lovely concept. And And while the best story is featured in the title of the book, surprisingly, the other stories aren't bad either. I love this collection. Susanna Clarke, it's a master of this art form, which I agree, like she is a master writer, crafter. I love her. And in position number 10, we have by Tanya Mayers, 11/22/63 by Stephen King. Because it's the most perfect book it has ever been written. A fast time travel thriller, mixed with historical fiction that feels too short at the end. Stephen King doesn't write really short books, but I love a feeling that something went very fast. It's like at the gist of it. I usually don't like time travel books, but it worked here with the rules established. And it is so interesting. You don't realize that what you're actually reading is a romance too. My favorite book ever. Yes, let's make a note. I will read these. It sounds really unique. I love time travel, especially when the rules are set. So I'm hoping this one is going to be for me. In position number 9, and things are getting serious, we have from Victor, One Piece. Like, is this my sign to finally read One Piece? Beware, there's kind of like a long message that I will try to summarize. One Piece is my favorite story of all time. It's by far the most ambitious work of fiction I've ever come across. The story, it's been constantly written since 1999. The protagonist is by far my favorite protagonist of all time. A lot of exclamations. You will never get bored with him as the main character. If you like stories that are, and here's a trick because we all like stories like our described like this: expertly written, entertaining, deep and complex. This is for you. It's a story with a phenomenal world building, with some locations that feel taken straight out of a dream. It draws extremely powerful emotions, either sadness or happiness. Thank you so very much for allowing me to share my love for this wonderful series with you. So hopefully the love that Victor has over One Piece has been shared not only with me, but with all of you. I am so intrigued by One Piece. I am scared because it's long, and I'm not sure if once that I start I will be ever to stop, but I believe I will give it a try because this is just so much passion, and I love that. In position number 8 by Jim Berthold, and this is actually one of those recommendations that while I was reading it, I was so interested. He did not say out straight which was the book, which was a mystery on itself, and he was like, on Christmas Day 1884, a desperate plea for a mysterious woman leads Arthur Conan Doyle to a seance in London's East End and into a fiendish and deadly trap. Stunned by a shocking display of black magic, Doyle witnesses a murder, nearly falling victim himself before being rescued by a secretive stranger. Then he continues sharing the plot of the story in a way that seems very entertaining. But these sound so phenomenal. Let me know down below if you're interested to read it, because I'm definitely am. And we are getting into the final page, the one that contains the essay and the video. In position number 7, we have from Sierra Dohan, The Bone Maker. And I'm really excited because this was actually the first entry that I got on the forum, and I was like, probably no one is gonna answer me. And Sierra answered very quickly, and I was thrilled. The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst. It shows what people are willing to do for the people they love, all while fighting an evil Dark Lord type villain. It's got a fresh take on necromancy, love necromancy and dark magic, including the use of bones to bring not only people but objects to life, which is a concept that I also love. It sounds very much like a hard magic system that I can really enjoy. It's fresh, fun, and I could not put it down. I'm buying it already. This sounds very much like me. I love death magic, I love hard magic systems, and all in all this sounds fantastic. We go in position number 6, and we go to the essay, and this is about The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman, so the first book in the Northern Lights trilogy or his Dark Materials. And I'm not gonna read it all, but I just want to highlight some key points that were mentioned because I've already read this trilogy and I loved it, and it's one of my most cherished memories from when I was a young teen. Just reading this made me feel all of those feels again. I will nonetheless leave all of those comments down below in the description so that you can access the whole essay, all of the comments, not only the ones that were featured here, but all of them. It goes like this. This book, it's great and it's my favorite because it helped me transition to serious fantasy. It's set in a parallel universe where human souls manifest as sentient animal companions called daemons. It has a lot of symbology to the type of animal. It is somewhat a reflection of a person. And I remember that this was actually a concept that I was very obsessed with when I was a kid. Like I thought, which animal demon will I have? It continues. It has a religious authority that seeks to control knowledge and suppress free thought. The setting ranges from the halls of Jordan College in Oxford to the frozen wilderness of the Arctic, where armored polar bears rule and witches soar through the skies. Really, the amount of love and care and, I don't know, just persuasion that this person embedded here. I'm just awestruck. Like, this is phenomenal. These characters are complex. It starts as a children's story, but the themes it tackles are complex, nuanced, and mature, like power, knowledge, truth. It's perfect for readers who love fast-paced fantasy with high stakes. It explores a deep philosophical and moral questions such as free will, the nature of the soul, and it is beautifully written. Like, if you're not convinced to pick this gem already, I don't know what to say. In position number 5, we have a video. Someone that I thought I knew, but it must be a resemblance. And we have this video from Bandrew, and he's pitching the Amber Blade.
Hello, Isa. I am Bandrew, and I think you should read The Amber Blade. It is a terrific classic fantasy book. I really like the prose style. I think it has great character work. And it is very, very, very entertaining, and I think you would like it very, very much. So please read The Amber Blade. Thank you, Isa. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I will link his channel down below because he's absolutely amazing. And his description of the Amber Blade, it made my day. I was laughing out loud, and you know, you never miss with him. In position number 4, we start with books that were recommended more than once. I'm really pleasantly surprised that people did not went with Stormlight Archive or Game of Thrones, the King Kriller Chronicles, like perhaps because I know those books, people share their favorite books that are not as well known, but I loved how it leaned more towards books that I never read. In this case, we have a book that is very popular that I haven't read, and it's The Count of Monte Cristo. 2 people recommended these, and in this case, we have a Vlad Belnescu and Laurent 6631. I love classics, slower books. The Count of Monte Cristo is the ultimate revenge story with amazing changes. Would you be interested in a great story about treason and revenge, with an archetypical dark character, victim as well as blind vigilante, mysterious, smart, unflinching, that will stay in your memory long after you finish the book? Then read The Count of Monte Cristo. It's not fantasy nor a pirate story, but it's amazing. I actually never had The Count of Monte Cristo as a book to read. I've always been like, oh, this is massive and not necessarily something for me, but I know this is a great book. My friend Ian from the channel, Ian Gubelli, also loves it, and I don't know, just at some point I will need to read it. In position number 3, we have The Night Circus, which was recommended also by 2 people. It's a magical fantasy novel with a beautiful prose. I was mesmerized from the first page. It's absolutely magical. I read this book last year and it is still one of my favorite standalones of all time. It's magic. It transports you to a different world, which is our own, but it is full of magic, and you want to live there, and you feel like different while you read it. You close the pages and you have like this magic dust close to you, and it's a very much a story that will remain with you for ages because it's beautiful. In position number 2, we have a book that was recommended 3 times, also a pending book for me. I know I need to read these, and this is Pillars of the Earth. I never thought I would like historical fiction, and now this is a favorite. I don't think I have ever read a more complete book. Characters, story, prose, emotions, everything about it is written to perfection. I follow your channel for a while. I know you will love this book, even if my post is not chosen for this event. Please add this to your TBR. Thank you. Your videos are a joy to watch. And also like amazing fiction, great character work, and amazing, my favorite book. Like I also know that Patrick Leo read it not so long ago and he absolutely loved it. So I need to read it. But the book that was mentioned 5 times, which I consider actually like a pretty high number of times for a sample that it's as small as 77 something responses, was Lonesome Dove. Love it, because this was not the case of I recommend one book and then, you know, people were on the same thread like yes, but actually different people recommended it at different points of the thread. This book, it's not only for those that love Western, it's for every reader who appreciates a story that touches your raw human emotions. This is so much about the essence of being a human within the story of Lonesome Dove. Friendship, loyalty, coming into adulthood, dreams, love. You can't help but to reflect on the story and your own life, which is something that honestly I love, when a book trespasses part of the charm and it also makes you reflect about your own life. What is written in the lines, the decisions and the actions taken by the characters makes this a great read. But the things not written, the story between the line, the decisions and the actions the characters do not take, that's where the true depth lies within the story. That's the magic that turns Lonesome Dove into a masterpiece. Love this comment to pieces. How masterfully Kim Svensson managed to talk about what is in the lines and also what lies beyond the lines. And I will definitely be picking up most of these books. There are some that I know I would like to read ASAP, and there are others that I know I will have on my TBR. So let me know what you think about all of these. Don't forget to check all of those recommendations that I will link in the description so that you can, you know, check that out. And also, I promise you, these will make your day. People, it's amazing. Recover faith in humanity. Like, this happens. Thank you so much to my Patreons for your support. All your names are in the description. If you want to join us, we have a book club, reading sprints, and I would love to welcome you into our cozy community where we have live events in which we can talk directly.